Hi, I want to introduce you to a Claude Code plugin called Flywheel that I built. My favorite marketing book is from April Dunford. So I took her positioning framework, and then I really like Matt Lerner's growth framework, and I encoded it into a plugin with skills and agents, which you can install on GitHub. The thing is, this idea of encoding things in such a way isn't mine. It certainly was inspired by every compound engineering and compound knowledge plugins, which I used heavily to even build this. So here's the GitHub repo, which has instructions on how you can install it. Pull requests welcome as well. And so now I'm just going to walk you through how to use it. I have this livestock auction aggregation site and an analytics platform I've been working on called Hundredweight. You can see it's here. I'm aggregating across the United States livestock auctions and historical data, and then I've built analytics designed around where and how much livestock you should take to a specific auction. Is it worth driving further? Forecasting goat prices and a livestock calendar, auction calendar. So I'm going to walk you through how I would use the Flywheel plugin to do marketing, positioning, as well as a growth experiment for it. So I'm going to use the Flywheel plugin to do this. So I'm just in my Hundredweight folder in Claude Code, and I'm going to say position. I've already installed the plugin. There's instructions on the GitHub repo, so I'm not going to do this. So I'm hitting position, and now it's going to ask me some questions. So we don't have a positioning canvas, but that's what we're making. So it's saying, based on my memory, I know you're building Hundredweight, a cattle market data platform, and then it says some information. So we're going to go through the 5-step positioning framework. First, do you have a list ready of alternatives? I'm going to say I need help thinking through this. Let's brainstorm together. I have some ideas, but honestly, I haven't done as much research as I should. So it's looking through what information I have already in my repo, because I've already done some competitive research. Part of the reason for this is I used a different way of building this first. I used an agent management platform, and then I decided to do it myself. So it's seeing there's 2 product names. We're definitely going with Hundredweight. So it's suggesting some competitive alternatives. There's a real-time pricing index. There's some other types of analysis available. The government has a livestock dashboard. You could call around, check barn websites manually, or go by your gut feeling. So now I'm going to say, okay, that looks good, but there's other alternatives. So I'm going to add some specific alternatives myself. It's suggesting some, but I'm going to describe them. So the alternatives, as I see it, are people could ask their friends which auction they should go to. They could look on social media and ask around in local groups, but basically use networking and word of mouth. Another alternative is look at their previous sales data and decide based on that if they've tried more than one auction. So it's adding those alternatives. And so now let's move to step 2. So based on my research, what's unique? Barn level information for including small auctions, looking across the auctions in a structured way, and API access data. I'm going to add models for goat sales based on holidays. When is best to sell based on historical data. There's also a haul calculator, which helps you determine, including the price of gas and distance and number of animals, is it worth going further? There's also alerting and historical data from both the large and the small auctions. So I'm going to make some more changes. It's over 450 auctions available, both large and small, combining government data and actual data from the auctions themselves, including from Facebook pages, PDFs, and other hard to scrape areas. Okay, so we're going to move to step 3. So what actually happens for the customer? So by looking at many more auctions, you could discover where each class of cattle might sell better. The data is normalized, so you could look at trends across time. There's different times to specifically sell goats, and then that haul calculator is knowing what your costs potentially will be, and your income alerts. You can know when prices are changing, historical data, and then potentially and then potentially for more data aggregators, ag tech companies, API access. So we're going to just skip ahead to step 4. So yes, different value propositions. So there's different sizes. So talking about small ranchers, goat and sheep producers, and ag tech companies needing the high level, the national level information for their customers. What makes the value immediately obvious? Is it the livestock market data platform, auction price aggregator, sell decision tool for producers, livestock market data layer? I think there's 2 frames between the ranchers versus the data buyers. I don't like these frames, so we're going to go through it. For the ranchers, know when to sell your livestock, where for the best price. Let's think about framing that. For the data buyers, additional data flows for your machine learning models, easy access to trend data in livestock markets. So they're not perfect, but I'm going to go with them and assemble the canvas. And it's taking its sweet time building it. But this then is going to be the basis of any future marketing initiatives I do. So I've done this quickly. I would spend more time on it if I was going to say, okay, we're done. And you could also imagine if you're doing this with coworkers, there being different loops as you come back to it. Okay, so I'm going to approve as is, and then we're going to go write some copy based on our positioning. Okay, so we have different options now. So I'm going to start first with compound. This saves our decisions from this process. So over time, we're building a marketing tool. So it's asking me what I learned. I think it's the 2 audience split was a good insight. And it says, okay, no conflicts with prior things we learned, which makes sense because this is our first session. But it's encoding this in its memory. So now let's translate this to some copy. So now it's saying, what do we want to write today? I want to start with a one-liner for the ranchers. I'm going to say, let's say I'm going to some actual auctions and I want to explain, and someone sees that I'm using hundredweight and I want to explain it to them. So it's saying, okay, who are we doing this for? As we've explained, I'm going to say, okay, this is our scenario, and it's going to give me some suggestions now. So which claims are we going to focus on? I'm going to say, is the drive worth it? And historical data. So now it's suggesting some ways to say it. So now it's saying hundredweight shows you what auctions near you are actually paying, so you know if it's worth the drive. Tracks prices at sale barns across the country. Pulls prices from sale barns that you know should sell this week or wait. I'm going to go with A because it's really not about hundreds of them. So let's go with the one-liner that I like. And so it's flagging that I've drifted from my positioning a little bit. It's saying, okay, it could be fine for a one-liner, but you can imagine if I'm doing a landing page, it might be more important to go back through it. Okay, now let's write another artifact. Let's do a bigger one. I'm going to say, focus on our landing page for data buyers. Now I'm going to describe someone. It's a product manager that's building a decision support tool for ranchers, and they want to also include into their decision-making the eventual sale prices, which will relate to how many calves they might keep in a given year. They need to think about when they'll be ready and what auction prices are now versus what they might be then. They have another data source which has feed information, and they are thinking through what the next year is going to look like. And so this is aimed at integrating into their tool to help those ranchers make these decisions. So they found it. We want them to find it and think they should integrate it. So I think in their case, what's important is API access, the historical data, and the coverage. I think that makes sense. Let's go with that. We're going to go with the landing page defaults. So it's suggesting our hero is livestock auction data for the tools ranchers actually use. You're building software that helps ranchers make better decisions. And it's going into the value blocks. It's looking at the claims. Now it's running it back through against the positioning to make sure we haven't drifted off, and we haven't revised it. So one would hope it hasn't drifted off. I'm going to go ahead and approve it. And so it's saving the copy test. So now I want to run a growth experiment to see if any of these things are going to work. So let's set one up. Let's start with getting ranchers to sign up and try the tool. I'm going to say on a Facebook group, a lot of small agriculture happens through Facebook. So our scenario is a small rancher sees a hundredweight post on a livestock Facebook group, clicks through the site and creates an account. Yes, that's what we want to see happen. What's the biggest blocker right now? They don't know about it. We're not in the right groups yet. I haven't posted in any groups yet. This is going to be a great growth experiment, being that we haven't started. So what's our hypothesis now? Our intervention needs to be the smallest thing that tells you if this is a right channel. So if we post in 3 to 5 Facebook groups using the rancher one-liner and link to the site, ranchers will click through and create accounts because the awareness barrier is the primary blocker. Good enough hypothesis for now. Let's do it. So we're going to do it for 2 weeks. We're going to use UTMs to track it and measure that. I'm going to say I know the groups and the sign-up works. Here's our success criteria. We're saying a small test. We're looking for 3 account signups. If there's 0 after 2 weeks, we might try a different approach. Let's finalize this. I have medium confidence this is a path that would work. So I think we're done for now. We built a positioning canvas, a one-liner for ranchers, and a landing page for data PMs, and wrote an experiment. Let's be done for now. And as it's mentioning when we're ready, it'll help us draft the actual Facebook post.